Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Authentic Info Podcast. I'm your host, Adma Sandlishago. In this episode, we're looking at the explosion that transpired in Johannesburg, Bree Street. I think it was on Wednesday, somewhere around past 5. And we've learned that one person has lost a life, while more than 40 were injured and rushed to the nearest hospitals. Now, the cause of that explosion is not yet confirmed, because Igoli Gangs came to clear their name to say that although they have a 4mm pipe or 5mm pipe, they don't suspect that it might have caused that type of explosion. And then we've seen opposing parties saying that the problem of illegal mining cannot be ruled out, because we know that Johannesburg itself sits on top of a mine. And another thing is that even City Power came to say they do have electric cables going through under that street, but they are still making investigations to check if there might be the cause. Even the sewage systems and water taps and things like that, to check what is it that actually caused that. But we know that people have lost business. People's cars were damaged. The taxis were damaged. Even the road itself was a very busy road, and trying to cordon off that area, they wanted to cordon at least one kilometer radius, but they decided, after considering that it is going to shut down the whole city, they decided at least to cordon off the area that is damaged, and then to examine the buildings and the road itself and things like that. But the question is, how long is this going to take? Joburg as a metro, how prepared is it to fix such a disaster? And how active is our disaster management in South Africa entirely? We've suffered in lockdown. We've suffered a lot. And we were caught off guard, unprepared. While China built hospitals in 2-3 weeks, we took forever. We came out of COVID and lockdown, one hospital short. So how prepared is the government to deal with that type of problem or incident or loss? Because the taxi industry needs answers from government. It's their road. They need answers, because they must continue operating. They must be given alternatives. Other than that, there are those whose taxis were damaged. They need answers, because they were damaged on the road that belongs to government, and everything that's under that road belongs to Johannesburg as a metro or city. How long is it going to take the Gauteng government and Johannesburg as a city or a metro to fix that road? And who's going to get that tender? Because we know that the big fish are up making calls. They want it. We know. And who is going to get it? How is it going to be awarded? What are they going to check in these companies? And what is important is that that road must be made functional as soon as possible. There was this incident, I'm not sure if it's Korea or Japan, but one of the two, where there was a sinkhole, a big one, and it only took them less than a week to fix that damage. It was in a 4-way robot, in a big, very big road, similar to that one of Bree Street. But it took them less than a week to fix everything, and it was up and running. But how prepared is South Africa to deal with such disasters? And how active is our disaster management? Because we saw SAPS guys there with boots and blue uniform and caps, shouting at people that they must not move there while they are moving there. Who examined that road to tell them that it is safe only for SAPS members and EMS to move? That's how reckless South Africa is. So even if you are a brigadier, I mean, in that position, you can't just go there. You are a human. You don't know what caused that. You don't know when it will hit again. What if it sinks? And in terms of evacuation, there's no plan in South Africa to deal with disaster. We are not ready because we are a country that is not stricken that much. We are hardly stricken by disaster. So we are not ready. We don't prepare for such because other countries have money saved aside for those things, and they don't negotiate or have to sit and make and have more briefings and briefings. When they sit, they decide, when are we starting to clear the road? What alternative roads can road users use for now? Where do we take the people? I mean, there are students who are staying on those flats. There are workers. There are people who have family. There are children. There are preschools there. There are small businesses there. They had to give an alternative the following day. But following day, still, there was no direction. They might have run to that incident. The premier might have been there, Lesufi, same night. The minister was there. I mean, the MEC, MMCs, the executive mayor, everyone was there. But what solution do they have? They just told the people not to come in here and take photos. And then what? Because the road must be cleared. Everything that is not needed must be removed as soon as it just happened. Examine everything, check if it might happen again, and then employ a company that will make sure that the road is built and functional as soon as possible. But you will know ANC-led government, comrades are still fighting. Let's say it's going to cost 10 billion, for example. The province, I mean the metro itself will be confused in boardrooms. Who's going to get that tender? And who actually, if they give it to a black person, or even if it's a white person, are we going to have a better quality? Because that is the busiest street, probably the busiest street in Africa. Are we going to have the best quality, or it's going to crack within 6 months after it has been reopened? But South Africa, let's say we have the same disaster in Cape Town and Durban. To have the capacity to respond as quick as possible and to make sure that there is reconstruction. I don't think so. And I think this is an opportunity to loot. The way the premier rushed and handled everything is quite suspicious. Because there is an executive mayor. And that is not a provincial road. It is within the city. It doesn't pass through Johannesburg. It's a Johannesburg road. It's a street that belongs to Johannesburg. Johannesburg is supposed to be given a chance to fix itself. And other than that, Johannesburg on its own, it's dilapidated. The buildings are hijacked. And we are not supporting the people who want to risk their lives to fix the problem of Johannesburg. We've seen people like the Patriotic Alliance, Kenukunen. He's ready. He's ready to deal with the problems of Johannesburg. He's putting his life on the line. But he's not giving a chance. He's not giving it. We saw him as an acting mayor, where he went to evacuate people in an hijacked building. We have had SAPS for the longest time. They've never attempted that. Recently, Minister Bekele have been seen saying that this year alone they are training 1,000 berets. I think it's a TRT. This year alone. But they've never attempted to clean the hijacked buildings, which poses risk in Johannesburg. we know that it is known that there are mines which were closed by their owners, but there are people who are still mining in those mines. But there are politicians who encourage that. Maybe they benefit. But it poses risks, because in 2018, there is an article which was published in 2018 warning that Johannesburg is going to sink. And if we see explosions like that, after such warnings which were given to the state 5 years ago and nothing has been done, it's an ignorance on the side of the state. It's an ignorance that we cannot ignore. Even if we talk about it, I mean, something needs to be done. Because Johannesburg sits on top of a mine. There are holes under us, under Johannesburg. And if people continue mining, one day Johannesburg is going to sink, collapse and sink with millions of people, because Johannesburg itself is congested, is overpopulated, overcrowded. Undocumented foreigners, documented foreigners, South Africans. It's just a mixture of everything and everyone trying to make a living. So this is a center or a space where government must make sure that everything is proper in terms of security, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of health and everything, to control the lives of people who are trying to make a living out of that space. But I know it's an opportunity to loot. And let's hope they don't give it to people who we know have been given lucrative deals or lucrative tenders by government and they fail to deliver and no one questions them. Let's hope it doesn't go like that. Because we've seen a person in the capacity of a deputy president of South Africa, Mr. Paul Mashatile, saying that there's a plot against him because now they are bringing in scandals of things which he did while he was serving in Gauteng. So now that is in national, it means those scandals must forfeit. So we don't want to see people associated to this type of leaders getting those tenders. There has to be fairness, although it's very difficult, but there has to be fairness. It must be given to credible companies who are going to deliver, who have a track record of successfully completing bigger projects. Whether it's a white company or a black company, no problem, for as long as they can deliver. Because Bree Street must be fully functional as soon as possible, so that small businesses can strive, so that the taxi industry can continue operating, creating jobs and helping people move around the city. Thank you. These are just my views. This is Authentic Info Podcast. I'm your host, Admir Sandile. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you.